This is a Monstera deliciosa plant in a flower pot. This is a wild-caught Monstera deliciosa. This is a potted green plant. This is a Pothos plant in its wild state. A vine up to 20 meters long. This is Konjac. It is toxic and contains very little calories. It has no effect at all. Then weight loss became his selling point. They are all from the Araceae family. A very useful thing for humans. But he himself is passionate about finding work in science. One crop feeds one people. Crops we discussed before. Many depend on the temperate zone. But do people in tropical regions also need to eat? What to eat? In the tropical Araceae family, this has become a very common type of data collection object. There was a young man named Taro. Because all the tropical plants are like mad dogs. Intense competition.
So, what about some Araceae?
It then grew very large leaves, used to collect sunlight. Of course, the hot weather isn't always stable. There is a dry season with water shortages. Or it is shaded by other crops. Lack of sunlight. In order to deal with this crisis, Taro, on the other hand, prepared a backup hidden energy fast forward. The cube contains 35 carbohydrates. It is a delicacy coveted by many creatures. To prevent being bitten, almost all of the modern new technologies have pictures. The same goes for taro. Taro tubers also contain crystalline calcium oxalate, like abalone pear blossom needles. Contains alkaloids, soap sticks, and other toxins. It can make your mouth numb. My throat hurts, but I want to get rid of the toxins in Yushu. It's very simple for people. Simply heat and cook. Alternatively, prolonged soaking in water is sufficient. So more than 10,000 years ago, ancient humans in Southeast Asia, Indonesia, they started digging up taro to make stones. Taro is found in southern China and South Asia. Southeast Asia, Indonesia. They are distributed in the subregions of New Guinea. So, what is the origin of its domestication? I'm so confused. Anyway, many regions are here. Around 3,300 years ago, Taro also has connections with the famous earth fog explorer, Austronesian people, and coconuts, jackfruit together, scattered across the Pacific Ocean. 2,100 years ago, they traveled westward to Madagascar. Taro is resistant to poor digestion, not picky about the land and not afraid of salt. It is very suitable for planting in the south. As a fast-yielding crop, the taro yield also lived up to expectations. A yield of 3,000 jin per mu is not a problem. Taro has always been a native food of China. They must also grow taro. As early as 2,400 years ago, the restaurant mentioned taro cultivation for the first time. Springtime 4 symbols. Each time the goods are sold. Each feeding. The ancient teachings emphasized loyalty and righteousness, and this term carries one meaning. After years of training, Taro has gradually, his asexual reproduction ability was gradually strengthened. A fast-forwarded burial will become maternal care. Purple jade will gradually grow on the female fish's body. Some female fish have more purple jade and fewer purple jade. The female fish's head grew in one piece. It looks like a dog's paw, a bit rigid. It's called a multi-headed fish. It has a powdery texture, like chestnuts. The second type is called sunflower taro. All his energy was concentrated on the mother taro. The number of female taro plants is small, but their size is enormous. Delicious. The output is also very high. For example, an outrageously delicious fish head. The third strand of fish head is taro with many seeds. His mother taro has a lot of fiber. Many people don't really like to eat it. However, the mother taro will produce many purple taro roots. Central and northern parts of our country, what you often get are these mini fish heads, although it's a small fish head, but they're still much larger than small grains. The history of humans eating taro. It's comparable to small grains like rice. Much earlier. However, from a cooking perspective, Taro is also very easy to cook. You can roast it directly over a fire or steam it in a pot. They can eat it as soon as they catch it. Taro can withstand even more complex cooking methods. He can peel it and mix it with pork. It can be made into guangdong. Taro, a famous dish from Guangxi, Fujian, and other places. Even the former emperor said that braised pork belly. If I could eat taro and tofu soup, I would give up the entire Qing dynasty in exchange. In West Bengal, India, they will slice the taro and deep fry it. Call it bitter wine hot sauce. If you think, isn't this just how you make potato chips? Oh, you should know. The potatoes were delivered weekly. That's why it's called a potato. Essentially, it's just copying the method used for taro. Furthermore, potatoes are almost impossible to make into desserts. But the taro is perfectly fine. Mash the taro into a paste. Add lard and sugar, sesame, peanuts, etc. It was then made into duck head vegetable and taro paste, a dish popular in the Khoai region. Taro, purple sweet potato, and tapioca are mixed and formed into balls. It turned into cute taro balls. To put it simply, it's both sweet and savory. Although taro can be used to make desserts and staple foods. However, they are somewhat weaker in the field of cooking. It can only be used as a side dish. Fortunately, one of his relatives, Siu, filled this gap. Purple jade. It can produce long, thin, purplish-yellow inflorescences. Very handsome. It is edible, just like garlic sprouts. It's called taro flower. Fish lanterns are often used for stir-frying. However, in recent years, some people have also argued that purple jade is not a single species. It should be incorporated into the taro. But taro isn't alone. There are also many natural and plant-based. It was also developed by humans as taro. It made me depressed. For example, the sea areas spread by Austronesian people. Number of hot-pressed sea areas. The span is enormous and protrudes above the ground. Like quick drying. Its toxicity is quite potent. It is said that it requires a long heating time. And after being manually crushed, it must be heated thoroughly before use. Similar to him is the wild taro. They look very alike. It is difficult to distinguish. It's also very big. Often they will be mixed together. People in Zishuangbana, they would use the leaves of the wild taro, leaf cakes and flowers, etc. Also belonging to the same category are the sea areas. Did any viewers watch his monthly film? It looks familiar. This thing. It is actually the famous dripping water guanine. His entire clan is poisonous. Moreover, it is quite toxic. Please, everyone, do not try to eat it, since it contains deadly poison. That sea area. Wouldn't that create an invincible domain in nature? Hey, there's an animal called Mao Abo business armor. They will be on the leaves in the sea. Bid out a ring-shaped hole. Cut off the transmission of toxins from the leaf veins. Then eat the leaves inside the ring. Achieve propylene oxide impact. Also taken away by the Austronesians. And there are also the few giant swamp taro plants. It is indeed very large. The leaves are like small umbrellas. The height can reach 6 meters. 2 stories high. Its diameter is also enormous. It can grow to the weight of a watermelon with just a little effort. The subdomain of the second fish place. It's called spiky mushroom regardless of the region. In Japan, people eat its tender shoots and leaves. Its florid part is quite interesting. It looks like a spiral. Saltfish of the genus saltfish. Its tuber diameter and leaves were stained with ink towards the chicken skin. As food. There's also a website for Araceae family and Araceae genus called Nanxing. It was also used as a substitute for barley by the second-class people. Among all the realms, the most peculiar is the demon realm. You can tell from this name. This is a very special type of organism. First of all, the appearance of the game magic domain was put into question. You might think this is a small tree. It refers to the stems and leaves of the Konjac plant. But the Konjac only has one leaf. These so-called leaves. Actually, they are lobes of the same leaf. The whole tree is actually just its leaf stalk and its path. It's a normal, large, round, nodular stem that grows underground. Konjac in agricultural production, mainly through asexual reproduction. When konjac grows, it will go through a peculiar head transplant phase. What was planted? Actually from the mother jade that grew in the previous generation of konjac market. What about its growth and development process? All you need is a fresh sprout and a good base. After that, he will abdicate and give way to the title. The newly grown purple jade will take over. It slowly develops into the konjac we need to harvest. Like other stars in the temple of heaven, the stem of the konjac flower looks quite cruel. But if you can't resist eating it directly, it was blocked by his strong flavor of fried garlic and alkaloids, unable to take care of themselves. But facing the foodie's national magic language, this level of defense is really inadequate. China begins research into the use of magic language. It has a history of more than 2,000 years. Ancient people had already recorded it. Its roots are white, and when mixed with ash, they form a whole. Speaking of bitter wine, true knowledge of the people of Shu. After peeling and grinding, adding susun boiling and other deep processing methods, this can remove the toxins from konjac. Since simply defending against the enemy is not enough, some konjac plants simply turn themselves into waste. No use. Konjac, which we are most familiar with, is an example of a weak orange. It contains a large amount of glucomannan, etc. Water-soluble cellulose, very low in calories. It is especially absorbent. All 9 floors are water. This causes its heat. Only 110 of other carbohydrates. It's practically a natural meal replacement for weight loss. On some of the jellies we eat, it will say that the orange is weak. It is made from konjac. Chicken chopped into pieces becomes konjac tofu. Gluten noodles are konjac noodles. Cut into granules, it becomes konjac rice. And add chili peppers. It's the konjac dessert that foodies are most familiar with. From his clean spot, high molecular weight hydrogeles can be directly extracted. Polysaccharide kajim, as a highly plastic gel. We can think of it as a biological version of plastic. If made into a film, it can be used as a pharmaceutical capsule. Shell at the rear point. It can be made into medical optical products such as contact lenses. It can also be made into a facial cleansing sponge. It's very popular in South Korea. Konjac gel is added to meatballs and sausages. It can increase adhesion. Adding it to pasta can increase energy. It can also act as a stabilizer in milk-based beverages. It can also be used as a gel for candies and jellies. Of course, as a large family, konjac is indispensable even in Sichuan. There will be a few outliers. For example, the right-hand konjac, also known as okiam, his cross-border. It contains almost no raisin. Instead, it was replaced by large amounts of starch. Instead, it has become part of South Asia and the main food source in Africa. Besides his basis, the most distinctive feature of one's mother tongue, that's his flower. Mother tongue blossoms only once every 3 years. And when it blooms, the flowers grew directly from the top of the well. The foliage wasn't given a place, just like the spider lily. Even the flowers don't meet. The konjac flower has an unforgettable appearance. At different time points in development, the color will keep changing. Very magical. It is named after this taro. In the konjac tree, the most powerful flowering plant is undoubtedly the giant Arum philodendron. In order to consolidate its core competitiveness, the giant Taro chose to take the elite route. His floral pattern is natural, typical Buddha eye fragments, a giant spadix made up of many small flowers, combined with Buddha eye wave plate, troll, and all-out effort. Strive to make the volume of the behind-the-scenes footage surpass all others. He possesses the world's largest collection of unrelated anecdotes. With possession, the world's largest single-unit master of bedding. Giant wildflowers are known as the two giants of the rainforest. When he blooms, a deep purple Buddha eye bag, using huge fluff. It can grow to over 3 meters. It's simply a case of good fortune and anger in tandem, although it is often said that big is good as big.
But the troll jade is this big.
It wasn't without its costs. His money only lasted 2 days. During his long lifespan of several decades, it can only bloom 34 times. Each flowering period takes 7 or 8 years just for the process to take shape. After the flowers bloom, it often takes a few more years. Failure would severely damage our strength. Therefore, regarding pollination entry, troll ants also took a different approach. First of all, his pollinators. Not a gourmet who has no shortage of food. Instead, it's Lao Bie who prefers members-only restaurants. According to simulation, cauliflower emits a strong, silky odor during processing. The temperature will rise further. To simulate a rotting animal, this smell, it will attract many silkworm beetles. There is also a meat camp. Ollie to my lover. Let the rich and the poor spread their word. The troll jade also has a double insurance. They chose to bloom at night. Actively avoid peak hours. The pressure was much less.
Right now?
His only rivals are the magnolia and the wildflowers. Plants such as wood butterfly. The demon language blooms once every 3 years. According to the demon language, a flower only blooms 3 times in its lifetime. And I will talk about this species next. Even more extreme than them. He is extremely common in both homes and hotels. Good health. The Pothos epipremnum aureum plant mistaken for a fake green plant. Have you ever seen a pothos plant bloom? In fact, most pothos plants will never bloom in their lifetime. Wild ones also rarely bloom. Because of the pothos. EAGA30IK11 lacking the gene for synthesizing pyumicin. They almost completely gave up flowering throughout their lives. Devoted to virginity. It's like banana-like reproduction in a virgin's womb, relying entirely on shadow clones. This is what driving on the highway is like. Logically speaking, this species with highly homogeneous genes, it is easily targeted by pathogens, taken away by a wave of restraint. But the pothos didn't. Some people say this might be related to the environment. Because of the native habitat of pothos. It is Moa, an island in French Polynesia. It's in the video. This tiny dot in the South Pacific. Highly stable living environment and smaller edge body selection pressure. Let them thrive in their place of origin. Even without wasting energy, fortunate. The leaves of the pothos plant are dimorphic. The leaves will change under different production conditions. Wild pothos. That is the true complete form. It can grow up to 20 meters tall. Thick vines and oversized leaves. His leaves. After maturing, it will develop feather-like splits. Allow rainwater to fall to the roots more quickly. Such a big leaf placed here. Doesn't it look like a tropical plant? But islands. After all, it's just a small amount of peace. Theoretically speaking, these islands, unhindered by external natural barriers. Once the species leaves the area, its combat power becomes extremely weak. However, for example, they have a strong ability to adapt. Green ivy prefers shade. It can also tolerate strong sunlight. Born in the tropics, yet unafraid of ordinary cold currents. At a low temperature of around 5 degrees Celsius. Still able to safely overwinter. In the pitch-black cave. You can see them stubbornly growing donkey eyes. Even humans wouldn't give him soil. Even a casual wipe in the water can make it grow wildly. In many places, it has become an invasive species. This is not escaping the world. It's practically a period of seclusion for spiritual cultivation. Breaking the crystals on the grass will prick your hand. In some places, it should be called devil's pain. What about the outside world? We've increased the intensity a bit more for the pothos plant. What about these invasive pothos plants? You have discovered some flowering areas. Of course. You manually spray it with Xia Simingsheng solution. It can also encourage it to bloom. The flowers of the pothos plant look like this, how should I put it? Still inside the clothes. Friends who like sun-loving pothos might have questions.
Why?
The leaves of wild pothos look so colorful.
That's because
The common bright green pothos. It is an artificially cultivated variant of wild pothos, also known as emerald green ivy. And what about wild pothos? Their leaves have uneven chlorophyll distribution. Therefore, it appears to lack green. Rather mottled. It is also called golden pothos. The most recently cultivated variety is wild pothos, thanks to the green ivy. The characteristics of being highly susceptible to mutation and asexual reproduction. The varieties we can see. It can be described as a wide variety. The young master's color is green, like jade green ivy, yellow neon green ivy, the mottled marble queen, and the almost entirely white snow queen pothos. In terms of form, there are even Olivia miniata plants that have grown to a round shape. Shangri-La green ivy with jewelry baby. It's mushy and unappetizing, like a traditional Cantonese dish. It is an ornamental plant along with the green ivy. And Monstera deliciosa. The Monstera deliciosa is native to Central America. Don't let it grow thick eyebrows and big eyes. Taro with ribs removed. It's only about the height of one person when placed in the living room. But the Monstera deliciosa that lives outdoors. It will gradually climb upwards. Become a giant vine. Very spectacular. Best friends are like an entire clan of poison. There was only one exception. That is his fruit. It's this big green banana. My Japanese friend calls it punlai glue. Like other plants in the Araceae family, there were already anecdotes about Buddha's eye. The little flowers on the behind-the-scenes footage. It developed into a free fruit in its original location. This led to the giant banana of the Turtle Wall clan. The structure is actually very similar to that of corn. It tastes a bit like banana and pineapple. However, as a member of the Araceae family, the ingredients are still a bit complicated. Some people finished eating. I still feel uncomfortable or have an allergic reaction. Modern new technology. There are also many plants with high crown value. For example, the top section chief of the modern new generation. He has a very romantic name, flower bamboo rat. There are over 1,000 species of bamboo rats. Some of these ornamental plants are called flamingo flowers. Their real tweed is like lipstick. Very small. These red, pink or gradient-colored Buddha eye bags. That's where the real scenic value lies. Similar to him are the calla lily rats. Where is his rouge bun? It looks like a cup. The calla lily slices among them. Pure as a lily. If the flower clan wore a wedding dress, that calla lily is the wedding dress. Calla lilies are also called sea lilies in Taiwan. Jam Xiao has a song called Love in the Sea. That's calla lily. If it's a roadside drip, Guanine avalocatespora. Let's call it easy to read then. The newly opened second large rat is Shilin Yushu. This is what we commonly call malt green. There are 621 species. Many of them are vines. It's just like a turtle shell. The main part of the philodendron is its leaves. Not only are the colors varied, the leaves of many species are like those cut by wire, create very complex shapes, like these in the soil. It is called the airplane-shaped velvet. The spotted dragon jade only has one leaf. This leaf sometimes curves into an arc. The leaves have many lobes. It gives the impression of being a badge for nearsighted people. Modern new customers. I prefer a warm and humid environment. There must also be completely aquatic ones. That's the water area belonging to the water category. His hair doesn't grow vertically. Instead, it lay diagonally in the water. It can also be used as animal feed or miscellaneous grains. What's special is that the water is not tropical. Instead, they are distributed in northeast China and Inner Mongolia, actually the most common Araceae plant in daily life. It is precisely those that can grow in the north. You just can't guess it at all. He is the plant of the Araceae family. He remained hidden in the soil. Have you all noticed? He is like duckweed, a type of modified version. Naturally formed plants that are completely unrecognizable. People often say that wandering around is like a rootless duckweed, to describe a life without a fixed abode. But the rat we're talking about now has roots. It's just that his roots are very short, only a little bit below the leaf. It has no fixed function, so most of the time it floats on the water. Those who frequently play by the water will surely know. As soon as the weather warms up, duckweed will begin to grow in the water. Within a few days, the entire water surface turned green. It looks like a lawn. Li Shizhen is currently describing this in the high-level discussion. Duckweed is a kind of single-leaf crystal plant, extremely strong reproductive ability. Similarly, the purple flat potato is also called purple flat potato. These are all common floating species. The rapid reproduction of purple bottle and duckweed. It definitely has nothing to do with oily reproduction, although he can act like an ordinary plant, flowering and fruiting, but in most cases, or through, developed from both sides of the mother's fluid body, reproduction through sexual buds. In their life of about 1 month, a single duckweed plant can reproduce 10 or 20 times. The number of offspring increases exponentially with each reproduction. It will continue until winter. As the temperature gradually drops, duckweed will then transform into dormant buds that are overused, sink to the bottom of the water, quietly waiting for spring to come back. Generally speaking,
Duckweed.
I prefer living in a pond with little water flow, lakes and stinking ditches. In the river, it's rare to see people living in these places. Microorganisms. Plants need sunlight. They generally have a strong dependency. Therefore, duckweed covered the entire water surface. For aquatic creatures, it will have a significant impact. This not only greatly reduces the aesthetic appeal of the well, it will also block most of the sunlight, forming a natural water purification prison. Regular manual cleaning is necessary. Of course, if you're lazy, you can also keep a few grass carp in the water. It's still acceptable to smooth out protein levels. They can grow up plump and healthy without needing to be fed commercial feed. Although its name is duckweed. But actually the floating duckweed family isn't just composed of. There are still some floating on the surface of the water. It will soak in water. For example, poverty. Compared to the same foot floating on the water, algae that are submerged in water can tolerate lower water temperatures. What does he look like? Unlike his other siblings, he was not upright and proper. After the asexual buds that are normally classified develop, it will definitely be connected to the mother. You scooped up a plant. It's highly likely that his ancestors for 18 generations will follow. Very interesting. Duckweed covered the sky and blocked out the sun in the water. Purifying water was already the focus of the entire Qing dynasty. Who would have thought that Pian Dengxing had such a master? That's the big drift. Those who have kept turtles may be familiar with this thing. Product name. Called water lily. Its size is comparable to that of the small quack rat. It's so big it's like a mountain. From a distance, it looks like a small bok choy floating on the water. Public high school and blood support. Strange as a monster. Local crops, despite their best efforts, still could not overcome the challenge. Although it was a big drift, it has become an invasive species in many places. But what about him? It is also widely cultivated as pig feed. However, this plant is very easy to grow. However, it does not keep well. And it's very sensitive to low temperatures. Very fast. It was gradually replaced by other crop feeds, with giant floats and small duckweed. It looks like the water surface has been completely covered. But what about poverty alleviation? Occasionally, you'll also see some turtle-shaped ones. What exactly is poverty alleviation? Unlike poverty alleviation, these mini poverty alleviation efforts, not only is it so small that it's almost invisible, there are no roots under their leaves. They are actually the smallest angiosperms in the world. 5 flat roots of the subfamily poverty alleviation. They not only have no roots, there was no air gun or leaf vein. The whole leaf grew like a ball. It is only about 2 millimeters in size. Although Wu Gongfeng also advocates asexual reproduction. But even so, it still retains the ability to bloom. Moreover, it has complete word endings and stamens. Such a timid flower. They don't yet know how the pollination occurs. It remains a mystery. We've talked about many crops that are useful to humans before. We will find these usable plants, regardless of whether it's niche or popular. The parts used in domestication and semi-domestication, they all have something in common, regardless of the vast variety of nuclear families, or a small Vitaceae family. Those popular sorghum and barley, Xiaomi products we use all have their own brand of earrings. And those less common varieties of horse sugar goosegrass, they also use their ears of grain, even those wild relatives. What's most distinctive is their story. It seemed as if it was always waiting to enter the border. Araceae. You can't see his moves at all. The dog owner was clearly poisonous, yet he was able to eat it. You think his fruit is untouchable. Penglai peppers are actually edible. It also produced a large number of Chinese herbal medicines such as Pinellia ternata. But you can see from the large blades and block mirrors, trying to understand their patterns. A large number of aquatic plants. It completely overturned your perception of him. Just like his name, Tianlai Star Technology. It is a science as free as a star. He only made a slight move. It left humanity a treasure trove, growing unchecked in nature. It does not affect my creative ideas at all.